Hey guys, it's JP again for Treksphere, again, Trek on the Road, and this time I have a triple threat interview with some wonderful authors.
When did they show up? Lunch.
So I have Dave Galanter, Scott, and Bob. Yes, I remember. So first thing I would like for you to ask to you, can you say something nice about each other? Who wants to start?
Well, I think Dave's got a tremendously good sense of humor.
Oh, well, thank you, Bob. Bob Greenberger is older than I am. That's not the nice part. But when I was a new Star Trek writer and he had been already having done it a while, he was very inclusive. And he sort of welcomed me into the Star Trek author group, and it was very sweet. So Bob's very kind. Not to mention, and also a good writer.
Thank you. Yes. Now,
Scott's
nice things about Scott.
And I have to say nice things about you?
That's what he asked. Yes. Why? You know how to raise a really swell daughter.
Oh, thank you. I think so.
Could step a foot closer to the razor.
Let's see. What can I say about Dave? Dave is a very nice guy who once picked us up from the airport when we were coming out for a con and drove us all over the place.
I'm actually more a friendly person than I am nice, but thank you.
Very friendly guy, yeah. And I'm going to sort of take the easy way out and just underscore what you said about Bob. That when you start out, it's nice when someone who's been there a while welcomes you in, like just one of the guys.
We love you, Bob.
Bob
Thank
you.
Well, first of all, you've done the tour this morning. Bob and Scott, I think it was your first time here?
No, we were here last summer.
Okay. And still enjoying the place?
I love it here. I came last year, and it was, for a lifelong Trek fan, very emotional to just get the sense that you're right there on the ship that you grew up watching. And then what made it even more special this year is I brought my equally geeky daughter and was able to watch her have her first reaction to seeing how amazing the sets are. So yeah, I'm glad to be back.
And in my case, seeing what they've added, tweaked, stuff that we saw being shaped last summer and that's now finished in part of the tour, such as the hyperbaric chamber and sickbay, was just incredible. And it makes you realize how much more can be added to make us come back.
I've known James Cawley for a long time, so I've not just been here, but at the previous location in Port Henry. Although this is much nicer because there's air conditioning, and the corridors are set up before they had to go to the high school to set up the corridors. Seeing it all like this every time I'm here is an awesome experience. Now that they have the bridge more recreated, more 360, it changes it. It actually changes it when you come on.
Yes.
And it's more of the experience of being on that ship.
You know, last time, the first time we stepped into the corridor, and you just, at that moment, seeing the corridor itself, it was like, wow, I really feel like I could be on the ship. Now I'm starting to feel that with the bridge itself. And when they finish putting in the instrument panels, that really will be amazing.
And since I have all you three together, one thing I'm always wondering in the Trek literary world is how authors work together when, like, sometimes I see characters going from one author to another, or like original characters, or story threads going from one author to another. How is it? Do you read each other's books, or do you just pass notes?
I'm sure it's some of everything. Let me point out that originally, there was a deep concentration of Star Trek authors in the Manhattan area, and most of them would get together for lunch as part of a lunch crowd every Wednesday, where little subsets of people, if they were working on projects, would break away and put our heads close together and what are you working on? What's going on? What did you hear about this other project? And we'd share intelligence, and quite often if we were handing off threads or characters to each other, it happened at those lunches. You could get that feel specifically in the Time 2 series of novels. Email has been tremendously helpful in that regard over the years. And then finally, Shore Leave as an annual convention, which has been the most welcoming to Star Trek authors, has allowed us to get together and literally go out just away from the con and talk about stuff with each other. Quite often Marco Palmieri, when he was editing the books, would be part of all of that and facilitate things, and book projects actually were born there.
Well, also, I was from Michigan, now I live in Maryland. You're from Minneapolis, St. Paul?
St. Paul is where I live.
Shore Leave gives us the ability to hang out with each other and become friends, where it's perhaps more difficult through email. I know this series, the Mere Anarchy series, you don't actually have to give the microphone to the book. Was a bunch of authors, and we had more fun in email planning the story arcs for these, stories. We could probably publish those, and they would be an equal amount or more fun to readers than, because we had a blast with each other. So we just, we're friendly, and we talk about these sorts of things. We're all really Star Trek fans.
So you do read each other's books, except Scott's.
I actually I've read Scott, and it was really, really good.
I don't have anything to add to that because
you're always talking last, and we've said everything.
The books that I've done have been standalone. I haven't.
No.
He doesn't play well with others.
Well, one thing Dave mentioned is being afraid of copycatting the writing style of others.
I mentioned that in my talk. I can't read another writer before I'm writing something because I'm a mimic, and things unbeknownst to me will slip in. So if I'm writing a book, I stay away from reading anything for at least 2 months before.
You mean you to read no fiction?
I will read no fiction. I'll read nonfiction, but I will, as soon as I start, my style will be whatever I've just read a little bit. Not a lot, but enough to unsettle me so that I stay away from it for a couple of months. When I'm actually not when I'm planning and plotting, but when I'm actually sitting down to start the book.
So has this been an issue for you guys, or
no, not for me. That's I will usually, if I'm writing Star Trek, I won't read Star Trek at the same time, and it's not so much out of fear of the mimicry. It just gets confusing if you have 2 Star Trek stories going on at once.
But you'll watch it, won't you? I have it on in the background. I'll watch.
You watch while writing?
I have it on in the background. Absolutely.
I play
just low enough that I'm not listening, but it's on the music. I can hear the music, and if I look up, I see the sets.
I play Star Trek soundtracks while I'm either writing or editing Star Trek, and because I own basically every soundtrack that's been released, I also listen, specifically if I'm editing Deep Space Nine, I listen to Deep Space Nine music.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I've done much the same using soundtracks to help set the mood.
Okay. And one last question before we go. Discovery. How you? What's your impressions so far, and hopes for season 2?
I'm looking forward to season 2. I enjoy the show. My daughter does a podcast about Discovery that comes on live right after the show, and so that's fun. I sit in the background. I listen to her talking about it, and I'm looking forward to where they go in season 2.
One of my complaints that I've been talking to my peers about is that I don't think they did enough in the first season to really clue you in. We're 10 years before Kirk, even though that was in all the PR. So with the cliffhanger that it's the Enterprise and Pike, definitely gives me that cue, and I'll be very curious to see how they build out the universe from that in season 2.
I'm obviously wearing a Discovery hat.
It says Disco.
It's for Discovery, and they wear these on the ship.
But Disco sucks.
This hat was actually on a spaceship.
I've seen that.
I've decided. I enjoy the show. I'm excited to watch it every week. I am looking forward to season 2. and I think that it's probably the best first season of a Star Trek show since the original series, because all of them have had certain bumps, and there's a learning process and everything. But I think this one out the gate, captured my excitement to the point where I was eager to watch it every week. I'm pretty sure it's the only show that I actually watch as soon as it is available. Everything else I tend to time shift.
And I'd like to add a shout out to Sonequa Martin Green, who I think has just been stunning and fabulous as Burnham. I just love watching her.
She is marvelous.
Yeah, because the arc of the show of her trying to get back to her Starfleet ideals and recover from her horrible decision, you just see so much of what her inner turmoil and struggles on her face so clearly. She's so expressive. Yeah, she really makes it for us.
Ella needs to have us on her podcast, wouldn't you say? His daughter is feeding him lines.
She's making me do a proper plug and say Enterprising Individuals. Enterprising Individuals is the name of the podcast that she's on, that is done live right after a new episode of Discovery.
So as soon as they announce when the second season is, you know that 10 minutes later, you'll have a podcast.
So, well, thank you guys. Hope you enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, JP. We'll see you at the wind chill.
Yes, for an ice cream.
Thank you.
Bye. All right.